Okay, so what we're going to do here, this is building that AI event agent. And again, just a quick backstory. This is part two of a previous video. If you haven't seen part one, I recommend that you go ahead and find that. So we're building an AI event coordinator. Basically, we're having this meetup this weekend. I have 194 people I need to send this message to. I don't want to be in charge of responding to text messages and all this other good stuff. We are going to send text messages because these are investors. They're always on the go. So they use their phone primarily like 97% of the time of all their engagement and doing business, conducting business, answering phones, lining people up. So that's going to be their mode of communication, SMS. We're going to build this using the Power Platform. I'm going to show you some building blocks. Some of this is going to be encapsulated, mostly because I'm building this on top of the rapid application development framework that we built here at Alventa that allow us to execute and build these AI solutions in a fraction of the normal time. So a lot of this is going to be some of the core stuff, the business stuff, the composition of putting things together. We're going to go do that together. But some of the details, like how do you call the Azure OpenAI and passing the client secret and all this other good stuff, a lot of that won't be covered. That level of detail won't be covered here, but it still should give you enough to add value and then go from there. This is what we're looking at. If you're looking at my screen, I have ChatGPT up here. I don't want to use the 4 or 5 model. I don't want to waste any more tokens on that one. Let's go ahead and just scale that down to a 03. Basically, what we wanted to do, I had to take two lists. I had to pull this from two different CRMs. One that was active, one had new users. I had to merge those into one. And that's what this 4.5 did. It merged all of those numbers from two different sources, gave me a unique list with unique phone numbers and first name, last name. What I want to do, because I don't want to risk showcasing someone's real phone number, I want AI to create a fake list. So I'm going to ask it, okay, so I'm asking it to create a fake list of phone numbers. I probably should have asked for first name, last name. Let's see how smart it is when I look at based on the chat history and making it relevant. Yeah, it did just that. Just give me names. Okay, can you recreate this? So recreate this with the first name, last name, and the phone number. It gives you what you asked for, right? Or question, or answer. Okay, so here I got a better quality answer. So here we have all the fake names and the fake numbers. This is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this. Let's see if it gives me a CSV. Let's just give this a name, AI Event Agent Fake, right? I want to take a look at that just to make sure we're getting what we need, because how we title our columns and everything like that is going to help us with making sure that it's a seamless import into the SharePoint list. Okay. So here we have just phone, first name, last name. No, this is perfect. Let's go ahead and import this into our SharePoint list. Okay, as with most of our solutions, usually for an agent, we like to dedicate a site collection to that. One, it just simplifies access control, right? Because we usually design this, all our lists and libraries needed for that solution are going to be driven by the access to that particular SharePoint security group. So for example, we may give everyone read access to all the sites in general. And then from that visitors group, SharePoint visitors group, we would then go to the individual lists and libraries where rewrite is necessary, where we're not doing that rewrite on the behalf of the user via a service account. This is why we keep all the assets related to a AI agent in a site collection. So that's what I have here. So now let me just go down to site contents. Let's go ahead and create this list. I'm gonna call it fake members. So list here. More importantly, when you create new, you want this to be created from a CSV file. It's just going to streamline everything, get this thing loaded in a matter of seconds. Let's go ahead and pick up our CSV file. So it's going to be our AI fake members. It's a first name, last name, phone number. These are the right column types. If I had to change them, I would just hit this drop down, but it guessed them right. And now let's just go ahead, nix. Give it a name. I'm gonna just call this, I'm gonna prefix this with fake members. I don't like special characters or anything like that. I will do spaces, but no special characters, anything like that in my list name, because I just know over time, when you get deeper into the solution tech stack, those special characters in your name may come back and bite you. It's not that the process will break. It's just all these hoops you got to jump through to represent that name. So we just avoid it out the gate. Okay, so here's my members. I'm loading in, refresh, we're ready to go. Okay, let's go ahead and start building out our Power Automate. Let me draw your attention to the whiteboard. So this is what we're going to build. Just make sure we're all on the same page. The first thing we're going to do is to send the SMS, right? So this is going to be our Send Power Automate. This is our business layer, right? You know that I love to create these subflows and I treat them like agents. Every subflow, if it's related to AI, will have its own prompt. It has its own calls to the LLM and process and handles its own results. And you pass it parameters and it returns an output, right? So that's really the core basis of AI, regardless of what technology stack that you're using. These are supposed to be autonomous, agnostic, independent, the separation of concern. They're focused on one given job. And then you just compose and use these and piece them together for your business activity. So sending out the SMS is going to be our business. The first thing it needs to do is to grab all of the users from that SharePoint list, the one we just loaded up. I'm going to keep that at the business layer. So this is just going to be an action. Then what it's going to do is to get the message for each user, right? So from there, I'm actually going to call an agent. This is going to be my prompt and response LLM agent. And this agent does two things. Because you can't call the LLM without having some type of context or history behind like a system and what the user is requesting and all this other good stuff. So I tend to piece those together. There's very little that I interject at the business layer that says, oh, here's the prompt. Now I need to manipulate something before I pass it. I will get the text. And then from that text to get the prompt, I think I'm talking myself in the corner. This solution, yeah, I don't think this solution, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. But yeah, I think this solution, it's okay to combine the prompt and the call to the LLM in one, because I think when I call that prompt, I will have the unique messaging needed for this user in there. But we'll see. We'll play that out because I do have two prompts I need to call. So I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself. So this is going to be, let's just start off with, this is going to be the prompt and the LLM. This right here is to get users. Just put that U there. And then once I get the prompt in the LLM, then basically I'm just calling the agent to send the SMS, right, for each user. And then what I probably would do in that scenario is put a delay here. And we talked about this in the previous video where you don't want to send 200 SMS messages all at once, like in a short period of time, because you are with SMS, you are going against the mobile carrier, like the top three, the AT&T, the Verizon, and the T-Mobile. And so what we want to do is make this feel like a natural conversation that we're having with the end user to avoid any spam triggers or things along those lines. So that's going to be a piece. So let's go ahead and piece this together. This is a question mark. We'll see how this unrolled because we do have to do two prompts for here. So first things first, let's go ahead and create our solution. And again, we always have these agents in their own solution. There's reusable components those child flows that we're using across multiple solutions. And you will see that unpack here. So here, let's just do a new solution. Let's just call this our AI event agent. I'm okay with the default publisher. And then go ahead and hit create. And you need this solution in order to call child flow. So right, that's one of the requirements that you have with Power Automate in order to call a child flow. All right, so once we have this, let's just go ahead and I'm gonna create a new one and then I'm gonna add in a bunch of existing. So my new one, this is gonna be an instant flow. I think I'm gonna convert this into, no, not reoccurring. So this is gonna be instant. I'm gonna trigger this and it's gonna do its thing. Let's just call this this is gonna be an AI event agent, right? So let's call this the AI event agent. So the AEA Send SMS or SMS Send, whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this menu right now. Again, that trigger, I have the flexibility of getting rid of that trigger, putting the reoccurrence in there, setting the schedule and have this doing this thing automatically. But I'm sending that one batch in one go. So it's okay for it to be a manual trigger. I don't have a use case yet to where I need to schedule this and send it on a periodic basis for this scenario. So once I get that, the first thing I want to do is go ahead and grab those items from that SharePoint list. So I'm just do get items here. Go ahead and grab that from my SMS event site. And then to grab the fake one, right? So we're doing that fake news. So let's do our fake members. And I don't have to filter everyone in that list I want. So I'm gonna just go ahead and rename my action. And then the next thing I want to do is to get the prompt. Now this is where we have that question, right? So this is gonna be a child flow. So run a child flow. And I have all the ones that I use prefix as agents. So this is a get AI response with prompt. Let's go ahead and grab that. This is going to ask for the prompt key. This is going to ask for the user text. Do I want this creative? No. Do I want to use a mini? Oh, this is for the AI. Yeah. So the SMS response, yeah, let's go ahead and keep that creative. And use many. No, we want to use the O3 or the deep reasoning model versus the standard. No, this is fine. This is fine. So let's go ahead and I don't think this is going to work. I think this is the last call that I need to make. Let's do this. Let's see how far we can get. So the first thing we want to do, and this is why I'm hesitating because I don't have this fully thought out yet. Ideally, what you would do in a situation like this is use like a diagram flow to flow like what you're going to do. And then you do, if there's a UI unit interface for a user, you put that together. This is all batch process. So this is going to be 100%, I would say 99% Power Automate. And the UI piece, we're just going to leverage the SharePoint list views for that, right? So what we need to do, let's look at this BIA message, because I think this is what we want. So say you're Deshaun AI, who's in charge of, let me read this real quick, because I think this is our core message, right? You're Deshaun AI, who's in charge of sending upcoming events. Okay, so this is my core message here that I want to grab. I need to grab this, but I need to grab another message that make it unique for the actual event, right? So I have one or two ways I can do this. Yeah, I think this is going to work out. So one way to do this is to keep the unique event inside of the Power Automate. There's really no value with having that inside of the SharePoint list. I think to scale this, maybe I would move it there, because if we have a new event, instead of coming to the Power Automate, I can go to that SharePoint list, make the changes I need, and then just run the Power Automate, and there's no coding needed, which is a really good scenario to where if you want your business users to manage that piece of it without bringing an app maker into the fold every time they have a new event. So for the sake of time, let's do this. Let's go ahead and paste in our prompt here, and that's going to grab that generic message. And then the user text is going to be the actual unique event. So I will drop that into a local variable. All right, so this is where I'm going to put var event details. And then here, I'm going to just type out meeting this Saturday. Okay, so basically I'm giving the details. I'm purposely not giving the full street address here for this demo, but basically it's going to be two touch points here. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can see it. 2 touch points here. Meeting Saturday, 28th, 10 a.m. I'll put the address for the first house. Discuss taking the rehab from 170K to 40K. Second house, 12 p.m. Price Hill. Discuss first Burr and their experience. This is a lot for SMS, right? Warning, no restroom or AC. It's super hot this week. Dress appropriately. This is an active construction zone, right? And most of the time they know this, but I like to reiterate that. Now, this is the message that's going to be added to our prompt. And together, we're going to be surprised to see how well this comes together. So with that, all I'm going to do is add this event details, because this is going to be the user text. Keep it creative. And let's just say call get LLM response. Let me see, run agent get AI response with prompt. It seems a bit verbose, but when I'm running this, especially if you got a bunch of these, when I'm running this, I would like to see exactly which child flow I'm calling. So that way, when I need to go and research it and find it and look at the logs for that particular flow, this gives me that detailed information. And I can see this at runtime without cracking this open, going into edit, looking at the child flow, viewing what one is selected in that drop down, and go from there. All right. So here, let's go ahead and drop the response in a compose action, right? So if you look at this flow, it's going to have the AI response there as a compose, right? I'm gonna call this a test. I like anything that I use to compose just to kind of look at stuff. I call it test, so that way when I'm ready to productionize this, I can delete this and have this ready to go. Okay, actually with that, we're ready to go. So to keep this from calling, we want to add in the current members detail, right? So we want to in this user prompt, let's press the first name. And again, I'm doing like messaging, I'm doing internal conversations with the AI. It's smart enough to figure out, here's the detail, here's the member information, here's the user's first name. I'm not going to put that in the message. This is my system prompt of what I need to do, and it's going to make magic happen, right? So with that, let's put in the first name, and that's going to put this in the loop, so that way we get a unique message per user. And this was still, remember, our first name is under title, so let's go ahead and put that there. For here, let's just say each member. And then we want to cap this, right? We don't want to test this with all 200. Let's just do a top count of 5 so we can see some uniqueness and then go from there. All right, so let's do test, manual, test this out. Again, this one child flow has all the plumbing needed for me to call the LLM with a prompt, system prompt, dynamically grab the system message from that prompt catalog using that unique key. All that, the rigmarole, elbow grease on how to get that done is all encapsulated, setting me up to recall this. So as you can see, in a matter of, if you ignore the trigger, 1, 2, 3, that's a loop, 4, my test, within 4 actions, I pretty much have the core basis of a unique AI agent ready to rock and roll. Simply like that. And you can leverage this is built to where it can be leveraged in many different scenarios. Even this is going to send an SMS, right? Once we add that action in. You can also easily have this extract out OCR a document, OCR a 500-page document, right? And return that text and do something with that text, maybe a summary or maybe metadata extraction or maybe like a risk score for contracts or whatever the case may be, right? Whatever the business needs, this is going to give you that foundation in that core to make that happen. I feel like 51 seconds is a lot of time to be waiting on this. This probably errored out. Let's just see. And again, let's go to let's see, is this really running or is this really having a hard time? Okay, so I built this solution. I want a way to easily reference that child flow that I'm using. And the way to do that is to add this as an existing child flow or cloud flow. So I'm going to filter on agent because all the ones that I want to reuse are prefixed with agent. And let's just go ahead and grab that, get prompt with response, right? And now I can bring that in. Now, bringing that in, adding in the existing is just a reference to that flow and not a copy to that flow. And that's super duper important to understand that, right? So here, it was just taking a while to get. So it seems like every request takes anywhere between 10 seconds, 40 seconds, 7. I wonder why this was 44 seconds. Anyway, so now it was just taking time. I was just being impatient. So let me click on here, the AEA Send SMS, which is my business flow. And now we should be able to inspect that and see and just gauge the responses that we're getting just to ensure that the AI is returning what we expect. So I got a failure here. That's interesting. Let's see what happens. Oh, invalid template. Oh, okay. So it failed on the test. That's good because that test is going away anyway. So here, if I look at the response, hi, Jennifer, just a reminder, the BIA event. Let me know if there's any questions. Dress appropriately. No restroom, no AC. Both locations are active construction zones. Probably a little verbose for SMS text. So now we get to trim these down. But for the most part, let me look at another one. For the most part, this looks fantastic. Hi, John, quick reminder. Hi, Paul, just a reminder. It's a little bit different, right? It's not a canned template. Hi, Kenneth, just a reminder about the BIA. Let's see if this one has a different intro. Quick reminder. So just a reminder, quick reminder. So it's making these unique per user. Again, I'm not taking full advantage of micro-targeted or micro-market custom or tailor-made messaging for the user because my user base, you saw my member list, first name, last name, phone. But a real CRM, I got first name, last name, company mission, maybe their LinkedIn profile, maybe to where every message sent to them will be unique. Two things we need to do next. One, let's update the prompt and tell it to trim down this to be more SMS friendly. This feels a little bit like an email because SMS, you only get so many characters, even though you can send multiple messages at once and it looks like one, or you can send that message in multiple chunks. So it looks like one, but we want to be mindful, right? Because we pay for those messages that go out. And two, we need to do that. We need to actually plug in our ClickSend so that way we can actually start sending these messages out. All right, so let's go ahead and get. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, let's look at the event details where I'm capturing the details about the event. Let's just go ahead and paste in this message here. Please keep the response under 500 characters. So I looked it up. 160 characters is a chunk in SMS. With the newer phones, they're just going to series these chunks together. So under 500, so really it'd be 40. So it'd be 3 chunks per message, worst case scenario. Keeping them SMS friendly in the response. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. To better test this out and to be a prerequisite to our input for our SMS, let's go ahead and create this variable, an array, that's going to hold in all of the group of people that we want to message with, right? So let's just do this. Let's do our initial variable. Let's initialize it and let's go ahead and create our members. Let's just call these SMS messages, right? This is going to be an array. Just default this to an empty array. We want to reuse this as our name here, right? SMS messages, right? And then basically here, as we loop through each member and we get the customized message for them, this is what we're going to tee up to where we're going to send to them. So let's just go ahead and append this array, call this append messages, and that's just going to be that SMS messages. And what we want to do, let's just go ahead and make an object for this. So we're going to do a JSON object. We're going to have their phone number. And let's go ahead and grab the token for that. That's going to be the phone number here for under get members. And then we're going to do comma, the message. And that's going to be the response from the AI for that particular user, right? And that's going to be an SMS, right? So this is going to be JSON format. And now we want to test this. So to test this out, we're going to put in that message array. All right, so let's go ahead and public. Let me just confirm we're still only doing a count of 5. Yeah, because I don't want this thing to run that full load. And then we're sitting here wasting tokens testing this out. All right, so now that's published. Let's go ahead and test it out. Let's just do a brand new run. Okay, so it took about 26 seconds to process those 5, which is fine. So now we want to look at the test here. Let's look at the output. And this is the output of all the messages that we want to send. Right. And this is great because what this is doing, this is teeing up everything that we need for our SMS piece. And again, SMS is simple. All of the SMS is looking for who should I send this message to and what message to send. And we have that demonstrated here. So let me copy this, put this in Notepad. And what I'm trying to do is get a sense of the size of these messages that are being sent. So if we squeeze this up a little bit, yeah, that feels about right. So it's going to be a couple of chunks to get this initial message out, but it's going to have all the details needed to get that out. So that looks great. Okay. And you can see the variance in the different messages that are coming out, and then we can go from there. All right. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and do the final piece, which is to send the SMS. Now to send the SMS, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another agent. So let's go back to our solution. And this reusable agent does not exist. So we're going to create this fresh for the first time, but everyone in this environment can take advantage of it. So let's just go ahead and do an instant flow, and let's prefix this as agent, and we're just going to call this SMS. Let's do SMS Send, right? Because we may have another one agent that does SMS receive, and that's going to respond back when someone responds to our message, and we want the AI to respond to that. But this one is going to send all the messages out. All right, so here we have our trigger, and basically I just want to pass in that entire JSON. So here I'm gonna just say, should we just say message array? And we can get fancy, so we can grow into this. But remember, when we send this SMS, we don't want to send this whole batch at once. So we want to be able to work like with a delay, an arbitrary delay. So maybe we have the caller do that. Maybe we have the caller specify the random range, the end of the random range, and then the top of the random range. So that way they have more control over that. But for this intents and purposes, let's keep it simple. The next thing we want to do is let's just do a compose here. And we want to convert that string that's being passed in into JSON. So we do that by going to our expression, select JSON, and then here on the dynamic token, let's scroll through, have it convert that message array to JSON. I'm going to just call this message array, right? And now we can loop through and send our messages. So let's just do a new step. Let's just do our array, or apply to each, sorry. And this is going to be for each message. So let's just rename that. And again, our message is going to have the phone number and the message. So each message, go ahead and grab our output from our message array, or not miss array, it'd be message array. And then we want to do our ClickSend. All right, so we know send our SMS by ClickSend. And then the to message is just going to be from our output to do this is going to be an item, right? This is just me manipulating that JSON. So the to is going to be item phone. And this item, because of the apply to each, so as you iterate through, this is going to be for the current item, and it's going to pull off that property. And then for the body, it's going to be item message. Now, I want to make sure that I'm getting these property names right. So let's bring up back see, I'm not getting them right. So that's our property name for message. It's just MSSG. I don't have a custom string for this one. So let's just rename this to send SMS, and that should send that off. Now, I'm going to test this and make sure this is working. For the JSON here, we're only going to send 5. So I'm going to get 5 errors. So let's just save this all. And this is the beauty of having these independent or modular type flows, these child flows, because now I can unit test this independently. All I have to do is pass it an array, and it would do all the other work for me, right? So if I click on test, hit. Okay, so now when I click test, let's just go ahead and grab the JSON of the messages we want to send. So we'll just copy this, paste that here. And again, this is going to be a string, which is awesome because that'll allow us to test this out. And now this is going to be able to send those 5 items as a test. Okay, so if I grab my phone, I don't know if you can see that, but those are all the messages. Now, this is not good because what it did was it sent all of those messages in one go. And as we mentioned before, we do not want to flag the spam or flag the spam for any one of the top carriers. So in order to get around that, what we do is put a delay in here. So if I hit the plus sign and then type in delay, this is where we can hard code that delay. Now I'm going to put a randomizer in here. So I'm going to hit the FX button and let's just say random. And we can put anywhere between, let's just say 10 seconds to 100. What's 180 seconds? 3 minutes. Yeah. So then you hit add. And here are the units instead of minutes. Let's just turn that to seconds. So now we can go from 10 seconds to 180 seconds. And that will be our delay with sending these messages. Okay. So let's go ahead and publish this up. The last thing we're going to need is that because this is a child flow, we're taking in parameters, which is going to be a string. We JSON, which turns that string to a JSON array. And then we send our messages, and then we put a delay in there to avoid being flagged as spam. And then because it's a child flow, we need the response or the return type. And we're just going to say respond to Power App or Flow. Now, we're not going to send, we could, this is one of the things you can grow into. Let me publish it. You can grow into sending like a status or something like that in the event that this errors. But if this errors, that error just going to bubble up and you can manage it that way. All right. So now let's go back into our SMS. This is our parent flow or the calling flow. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this so that way it recognizes that new child flow that we just created. Okay, so what we want to do, this is going to loop through, build that array, and now we want to pass that array after the loop to our child flow. So let's just do child flow, run child flow. This one, let's go ahead and select it. It's prefix agent. So let's do selected agent SMS send. And then our array is going to be the array that's in that variable. Now, that array that's in the variable is an actual array. The child flow is expecting a string, so we have to stringify that array. So let's just click on function, type in string. Oh, my cursor was in the wrong spot. 1 second. Type in string. Go ahead and pass that array. I'm the dynamic content, finding that variable. That's the SMS messages. Click add. That's going to stringify that array. I'd like to make these developer friendly names. So let's just go ahead and type in agent, SMS send. And that's going to be our friendly name for this action. Right? We're done with the test. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Make things clean. Go ahead and publish this up. We get an error. Now it says the run only connections has to be addressed. And you run into this from time to time again with these child flows. And basically what it's saying is the run only user, which I like to refer to as run as, you need to specify a connection if your parent flow is not passing it in. I've always set these. So I'm setting this to the general SMS connection for ClickSend for this particular Power Platform environment. And usually it takes I have to edit here and publish it just for that to register. So let me just go and edit this agent SMS send, publish this up, go back to my parent flow and then click publish. Let's try it again. I'm going to save this as a draft, refresh it, and then try it again. Okay, I refresh the browser, click publish. Still having the error. So let's just double check this. Yep, no, that looks right. Maybe try publishing it again. Again, this is the agent SMS send. And you also run into this if I have like another version of this Power Automate open in another tab. Let me just confirm that quickly. Nope, I don't have it in another tab. Let's try publishing it now. Okay. Try to publish again. This is odd. I'm going to actually close the browser tab for that child flow and then relaunch it just to make sure there's no caching. And this is showing me the latest settings. I have no idea why the parent flow is still being blocked, thinking that the run only user connection is not set. So let me go down to run only user again. Confirm that this is set. It is. Maybe if I touch it and change it again. Okay, I changed it to the wrong setting, saved it, changed it to the right setting, saved it again. And now let me go to my parent flow and see if that makes a difference. Okay, I'm killing my entire browser. All right, killing my browser. I'm going back into that solution to see if I can get this parent flow to save. Okay, so let's go into our AI event agent. Now into the parent flow. Let's go and edit and just see if we can go ahead and publish this now. And the cool thing about it is, not the cool thing, but I love the fact that you have the save as draft. So that way, if you run into an issue, oh, this has just been silly. If you run into an issue, you can save draft and not worry about losing your changes. All right, so let's go to, let me go to edit this and then publish it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and publish this. This is the child flow. Let's just double check our run only connections, make sure they're still set. Yep, they are set. Okay, finally, we got a published version of this. Now let's go ahead and test this out. So again, if I look at get members, I'm only testing with a top count of 5. Let's go ahead and change that to 2. And then test this. Select manual, publish and test. And what I'm expecting to see is that this is going to grab all the AI components for each member, their unique message, and then it's going to send that array down to the run agent send, the run agent SMS send, and then I should get a notification on my phone once that's done. It's spinning here. Yeah, I got notification, so it's just spinning there because we have that delay, and this looks actually really good. So if we go to our child flow, just to confirm we don't have any errors, I'm only sending 2 messages. So this could be, again, up to 10 seconds or 3 minutes, depending on the randomizer that's selected through that random. So we should be good to go. All right. So really, this is all set. Now we probably have to go through, and I think I was testing with my phone number, making sure everything went to my number. So now I want to go back and change that. So right here with this 2, I'm taking out my hard-coded number, go ahead and drop in the actually phone number token. Oh yeah, and this is the one where I have to code this in using the expression, because I'm not going to have any helper tokens for this. So the code this in is just simply item, and then the array name, the property name. And this is why I love grabbing a copy of that JSON, so that way I can see those actual property names. So this is just going to be phone. Just add that in. And then that has the message. And now we should be good to go. Just go ahead and publish this up. And now we're ready to rock and roll. So now what we need to do, this is primed and ready to go, right? So I would just go back to my parent flow, change this location to go against the real list. I might have to do some updating. I don't know if I have the same column names or not, but that would be a small edit I need to make. Just make sure that the things I'm passing to the AI, as far as like the first name and how I'm referencing that number in the array, once I change this data source for the get members, I just want to make sure that my downstream references to tokens or site columns is the same. Outside of that, we're good to go. In the next video, what we're going to do is set this up to receive incoming mail. And I will show you like how that works, how to prime your SMS, and then we'll probably go into ClickSend and show like in ClickSend, because ClickSend handles all of the SMS, like sending messages and receiving messages, and you have a dedicated number to make this happen. So if someone replies back to your SMS text, you want the AI to respond to that. There's one key component that we're missing that we need to cover in this next upcoming video when we have that receiving, and we'll talk through that in the next video. So until then, I'll see you in the next video, and take care.